So my name is Claire Nullis, and I'm Media Officer in the World Meteorological Organization, which is based in Geneva, Switzerland. Yes, the World Meteorological Organization has just issued that there is a 40%, so that's 40% chance that we will temporarily reach the level of 1.5 degrees Celsius above the industrial era in the next 5 years. Now that number is significant because it's the lower temperature target of the Paris Agreement on climate change. We're not saying, and this is important to stress, we are not saying that we are going to permanently reach 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next 5 years. We're just saying this is just going to be a temporary overshoot. What we're also saying is there is a 90%, so that's chance that one of the next 5 years will be the warmest year on record. At the moment, 2016 is the warmest on record. That's because there was a combination of climate change and a very strong naturally occurring event called El Nino, which has a heating impact. And what's really important to stress is that these are more than just statistics. You know, people might say, well, so what? You know, what does 1.5 degrees Celsius mean? Why does it matter to me? Why should I care? It matters a lot. You know, part of the much bigger climate change picture. So rising temperatures mean obviously we're going to see more heat waves, we're going to see more temperature records broken, you know, on a monthly basis. But climate change is also accompanied by more uncertain precipitation patterns, and obviously that, you know, is very, very important in all over the world, but in particularly in African countries where you rely so heavily on rain-fed agriculture, you know, as part of your, you know, sustainable economic development. It's also, rising temperatures also mean that glaciers and ice are retreating. This then means that sea levels are rising, and that in turn leads to more coastal hazards for, you know, for people who live on coastlines. You know, the storms when they hit are likely to be more intrusive than in the past. And it also means it's not just rising temperatures on the land. You know, our seas, the oceans are becoming warmer, and they're becoming more acidic because of carbon dioxide. And so this is having a major impact on fisheries. You know, fish stocks are migrating to cooler waters, and the acidity of the waters is having a harmful effect on, you know, on marine life and the food chain.
So this would mean that we might not be able to meet the target. What Paris Agreement actually said, you remember this agreement said that we have to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So it means that with these new findings, it means that we are likely not to meet that target.
At the moment, we are certainly not on track to meet those targets. And you know, many government leaders now throughout the world recognize that we have to be much more ambitious. We have to take much quicker and more ambitious action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. They continue to rise. and we're not doing enough. So we're definitely not on track to reach the Paris Agreement targets. But I think our message is, we should not give up. We should not lose hope. There's a huge amount of momentum now. There's much more commitment from political leaders. There's much more commitment from industry, from the corporate world. Much more, it's a much higher priority for for people throughout the world to change their lifestyles. So at the moment, we're not on track to meet the Paris Agreement. We do need to do much more to to bring temperature increases under control. But we should not give up hope.
So what could have caused the rapid increase in these temperatures that we are talking about? We know that the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere actually, what could have caused within this short period of time? In 2016, we had the hottest year, and we were expecting that within that period till 2021 or 2020, we could have done something to reduce the figures that we had in 2016. What exactly have we done wrong to have these numbers going up?
It's not something which is happening suddenly. It's part of a long-term trend and pattern. So what we've been seeing is that since the 1980s, each decade is warmer than the previous one. So there hasn't been a sudden overnight increase in temperatures. It's part of a long-term trend, but obviously that trend is a warming one. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that each year will set a new temperature record, but definitely the trend is it's on the way up, and that's why we say there's a 90% chance that we will see, in the next 5 years, we'll see one of the a warmest year on record again. We don't expect it to be this year. This year has actually got off to a relatively cool start in many parts of the world, but certainly the trend is towards rising temperatures, and that's because of the laws of physics. The greenhouse gases which are currently in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide in particular, which is the main one, they have a very, very long lifetime in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide stays in the atmosphere for many generations. We're not even talking about many years, we're talking about many generations. And so that will carry on trapping the heat and leading to rising temperatures for many, many years to come.
For that.